The suspect in last week's burglary homicide in Peaceland was brought to trial earlier today in Houston, Missouri. Quinn Shark, an employee of Lazy Larry's Loans, stood trial today for second-degree murder. However, a not guilty verdict was delivered. The state accused Mr. Shark of murdering his co-worker Emery No More last Tuesday. Despite the fact that blood was found on the defendant, lab tests determined that it was his own. Fingerprints found at the crime scene by Houston crime scene investigators were not the defendant's, but those of one of the witnesses to the crime, Blake Bystander. The jury decided that they could not, beyond a reasonable doubt, convict Mr. Shark of knowingly causing death. Ms. No More's death, according to the Texas County coroner, was caused by a wound in her left side caused by the letter opener found at the scene. Along with the homicide, $10,000 in cash was found missing from the business's safe. Lab tests determined that the fingerprints found on the safe door were those of Mr. Bystander. According to the defense, the investigators did not wear protective clothing while they were processing the scene, which may have caused a contamination of the evidence. The state called 5 witnesses to testify, 4 of whom were Houston crime scene investigators, the other was the Texas County coroner. The defense called 3 witnesses to testify, 2 lab technicians who worked on the reports that identified the blood found at the crime scene, and a friend of Mr. Bystander's who had gambled with him the night of the crime. At this time, it is unknown whether or not the state will form a case against Mr. Bystander. For Wildcat News, I'm Caroline Dade in Houston, Missouri.